We are doing a live reaction, first impressions, and impact on the meta with the brand new ban list that is coming. We predicted a lot of things that happened, but there were a lot of things that were completely unpredictable. At least one deck completely does not exist at all. So let's get right into it. Attention Duelist, all right, May 10, that's great. Let's see the forbidden list. Whoa, blue eyes right away. Azure eyes to 1, melody to 1. So if we want to put this into perspective, we want to see what a good blue eyes deck looks like, which I have ready for you right here. This is what a blue eyes deck looks like that is top tier. So that, now you can see the melody to 1 and the Azure eyes to 1. They're going to have to pick between playing melody and playing Azure eyes. I could tell you right now, the better choice is going to be to play Azure eyes because one of your main plays is to summon the Spirit Dragon to then jump off the field to make Azure eyes, which makes itself and your other dragons you control untargetable and indestructible by card effects. And then by doing that on your opponent's turn, you likely have the ability to activate its effect during your standby phase to summon a Spirit of White from your graveyard. That is too devastating to give up. But in competitive events, we play with side decks, so we may see melody in the side deck. Against a deck that Azure eyes may not affect as much, they might side deck out the Azure eyes and side deck in the melody. But for the latter, I do think the better way is going to be with Azure eyes Silver Dragon. Now, many people are quite upset. This is the most played deck in the game by far. I have some commentary on this nerf because many people are upset. They wanted more of a nerf. I think Blue Eyes is possibly the first and only true, timeless, top tier deck that Konami is going to maintain being top tier. Why? Well, I think for one very, very big reason. Not only is it the most played deck, but I feel that they have a massive influx of brand new players that have only played Blue Eyes and have played nothing else. And if something were to destroy their deck, they'll just play something else. They literally will go back to Fortnite. I can't tell you, I have endless private messages from brand new players. They've never played Yu-Gi-Oh before. They've never played Duel Links. It's their first time playing. And they keep asking me, Dkayed, can I do this for my Blue Eyes deck? Do I have to have Book of Moon for my Blue Eyes deck? Do I change this for my Blue Eyes deck? New players are playing Blue Eyes. So this is a money maker for Konami. For example, a deck that does not make Konami as much money would be a Star-Lord deck. Star Seraph Lords we'll talk about in a bit. That's not that popular. So this is all about Kaiba, Seto Kaiba, and they had to do something because there is a group of players that are upset with just playing against Blue Eyes. So Konami needed to say, hey, group of players that don't like Blue Eyes, we're touching Blue Eyes. And hey, brand new players that don't even know what a ban list is and players that are just playing Blue Eyes, you could still play Blue Eyes, it's top tier. And I do think it is important for Konami. Konami wants this. They need players like myself, content creators, and the Duel Links Meta website and tournament results to show that Blue Eyes is still a good deck because Blue Eyes, more than anything else, has been the most aggressive ad campaign to present Duel Links to new players. The login, you get the alternative White Dragon, the structure deck that reprints all the expensive cards. This is the main moneymaker of Duel Links. So we do have to put that into perspective as much as we may not like that or like that it's their bread and butter. They can't hit it too hard, and Blue Eyes just may be top tier forever. I'm not going to say it's going to be the best deck right now or be the best deck ever. I think it will just always be top tier relevant, and maybe you think that's a good thing. You let me know in the comments. Let Konami know if you're upset or happy with the thought that Blue Eyes could be relevant forever. Moving on. Storm limited to 1. What did Storm do to you? Well, let's look. Let's look on the website. We're going to type in Storm by popularity because a lot of cards with Storm in its name. Storm, where's Storm at? Right there. So if we look at Storm, the latest decks using Storm, you could see Cyber Dragons, Evil Eye are using the deck. Cyber Dragons are loving it because they love to storm off their own back row. It triggers their own effects while also taking out your back row so they can make big plays. Now, Konami did put reasoning for each nerf. Let's read it. This card will be limited as it has the potential to end duels immediately depending on the deck. Well, if I were to cycle through the decks I have ready for you, Storm was not really doing that in Evil Eye, besides the fact that they were setting up with a Nightmare Shark, which is fixed due to the Titan Showdown also being changed. We'll talk about that. So they have to be talking about a Cyber Dragon deck. They're talking about Cyber Dragons, storming your back row, and then winning the game with Fusion Gate. So Cyber Dragons got Storm hit. It's also a free-to-play card. I did not predict this. I knew that Storm was a really good card, but because it's a free-to-play card, I felt that it should be left alone. It seemed quite balanced. You destroy your own back row, you destroy theirs. I don't know about this one. Not too happy about that, but it is what it is. Let's move on. Semi-limited. Whoa. Ascalon to 2, so immediately you're going to be thinking, why would they further hit Dragoonity? Well, we need further context to this. Let's look on the top decks page. Let's see if we could find a Dragoonity deck, because the deck has really not been that relevant recently, to the point where it's not even on the top deck page in the last 4 weeks. Well, for good reason, because this is not a nerf. If we skip ahead, if we cheat, no longer on the list is Cenadas. This was a core card of the deck. People were really upset to get 3 structured decks, then only be able to use 2 Cenadas. Now, the story of Dragoonity is all about Trunade, and you maybe heard about this in my Banlist prediction video. Trunade, they had to take this card away from Dragoonities. So this is the 3rd time where they rearranged a semi-limit. They had the Dragoonity Lance semi-limited, and people still played Trunade. I'm not spelling Lance correctly, apparently. There it is. Dragoonity Divine Lance was semi-limited, so players said, okay, I'm still going to play Trunade, which returns all back row cards back to the hand, and they win in 1 turn. So because of your defiance, they had to then hit Cenadas. So Cenadas was semi-limited, and we do need to correct on the website to show that it's no longer semi-limited. And the deck just hasn't been doing well since the semi-limit of Cenadas. So Konami has recognized that, the popularity of the deck severely dropping. So instead, they're going to put Ascalon to 2 and free up the Cenadas. Let's see if I could have a recent deck of me playing Dragoonity so we can have a good list, because I don't have a quick one. I think we have one 8 months ago with Star Blast. Okay, that's not really how the deck was being played. I just haven't been playing the deck recently. But this is what the deck kind of looks like a year ago. Let's grab into it. So we can have better. Hey, that's us abusing the Trunade before the nerfs. This is what they wanted to stop. So they hit the Lance to stop it, and it didn't stop it. Then they hit the Cenadas to stop it. It successfully stopped it. But now they will. Maybe you could play 1 Ascalon, 1 Trunade. You're not going to play 0 Ascalon. Or maybe you'll just play 2, and your deck will just be better because now you have 3 Cenadas. So I think this is a good change, as long as the players are not still playing Trunade or throwing Trunade in their deck. If so, at most, they're going to have just 1 Trunade. So it's okay. Let's scroll back up. Cybernetic Fusion support to 2. I called this. I said that this would happen in a Cyber Dragon deck. As you can see in this deck that got top 100 KC Cup by Mayayami, he's playing 3. This essentially summons 3 Proto Dragons from outside of your duel. So you don't even really need to play much monsters, because this summons 3 monsters, 2 monsters on its initial activation from outside of the duel due to your skill. And then with Fusion Gate, you just win the game, because 1 Fusion Gate and 1 Cybernetic Fusion support were more than 1 Fusion summon, because this would then allow you to Fusion summon using the graveyard. So you would banish the fusion materials, then the fusion monster, which would be Rampage Dragon, which is 6,000 damage alone, would send 2 Cyber Dragons from the deck to the graveyard, which the Fusion Gate could use the graveyard thanks to the Cybernetic Fusion support. So this 1 card, it did too much, allowing you to fuse with the graveyard, summon monsters from outside the deck, enable 1-turn kills. Not cool. And you could activate Storm, then chain Cybernetic Fusion support. By chaining this card, it will reduce your life points to get all the benefits we just said, and it will count towards the Storm of popping your opponent's back row. So even that was quite the nasty combo. And Storm in the Cyber Dragon deck, it's worth noting that if you stormed your overflow would search for a card like Cybernetic Fusion Support. So overall, this deck really got hit badly. What are you going to do? You're going to play one Fusion Support, one Overflow, one Storm. Storm and the Overflow made the deck more consistent. The deck just changes. The pure Fusion Gate build, I believe, ceases to exist. And I actually think that's a good thing because the deck is quite toxic. A lot of people are just getting blown out by it. Not cool, right? Let's move on. Gaga Sister. This is not okay. I said to not hit the sister. Hitting your sister is bad. This sets a really bad example from a company that should know better. They hit the sister. And why they hit the sister? Let's look at a deck from Onomat. This is an Onomat deck. Trunade. Again, we talked about Trunade. If you're not even familiar with Duel Links, you might be thinking, well, Trunade's the problem. Why do they keep hitting everything else? Well, it's gone to the point where we have hit our sister instead of Trunade. Trunade 2018, 3 years ago. They will hit everything. This will continue to not be banned. This will forever get decks semi-limited as Trunade then ruins another deck. I don't know why. They don't just ban it and give compensation, but that is where we are. And I told you that they could have been lighter on the nerf. But because of Dragoonities, because of the Dragoonity situation where they had a mishap, they semi-limited the wrong 2 cards, then you all continue to play Trunade, they couldn't risk it. I tried my best to give a reasonable prediction that maybe they would hit Doo-Doo Draw, but then I believed you would still play Trunade. I said that if you're going to be so defiant and still play Trunade, that they would maybe hit Coat. Konami said, nah, we're just going to hit the sister. So there you go, sister hit. Is the deck going to still be good? Well, there's another change we have to talk about later on if the deck's going to still be good. Let's move on. The chair. I predicted the chair would go to 2, but I didn't predict it that it would be this soon. I knew that this was inevitable, and I guess Konami's thinking, if it's inevitable, let's just do it now. I thought they would give you more time with the chair. This is a super rare. I feel this is a bit early. Even though I did predict it, this was early. This is a pretty early hit. The most relevant deck that was abusing this was a Darklord deck. So let's look at a Darklord deck right here. You're kind of getting spoiled already because you're going to see some changes here. But this was the main top tier deck abusing. If we look at the Casey Cup tier list, you can see a trend of decks being hit. Tier 1, Star Seraph Lords. The Soul Tier 1 deck going into the event. This was the most hit deck. Then you have Blue Eyes and Onomat, Tier 2, going into the event. These both decks got hit. Then we got Tier 3. Cyber Dragon got hit. Evil Eye passively, oh no, Evil Eye did get hit. We'll be talking about that. Fire King and Harpies didn't really get touched. So those were the only decks on the tier list that did not get touched. Now, they did not care that Star Lords were the only deck on the tier list using the stick and chair. They wanted to semi-limit it anyway. It could look bad to them when they try to restrict the use of a card, but then it blows up more in popularity because, you know, Konami, they don't want to change things week by week. They don't want to give you 1 month ban lists. So when they do a ban list, they ideally want to do it right because we do all clown on them when they make a mistake, like with Dragoonity, where they semi-limit the wrong card and we use Trunade anyway. So Konami not wanting to look like a fool, they nerfed the chair. And they say it is because it is usable in a wide range of decks and can almost secure victory when a full combination is performed on turn 1. You didn't know that when releasing the card? Did you really? Are we going to nerf Exodia because it almost secures a guaranteed victory by drawing all 5 pieces? Surely you knew this. Now, Sanctified Darklord. Let me take a sip. I can't edit the sip out. You're going to have to take the sip with me. All right. Sanctified Darklord. What? This is an unnerf. This is a buff, right? Well, wrong. If we look at a deck that was playing this is the top tier deck, the Soul tier top tier deck. We have Sanctified Darklord being a limited to 1 card. It was limited to 1. So in TCG terms, you'd be thinking if it goes from limited to 1 to limited to 2, that's a buff. Well, in Duel Links, it works differently. It's a bag of limited to 2. And in that bag of limited to 2 was Contact and Ixchel. And if you stick your hand in the bag, you can only pull 2 out. So now you have Ixchel, Contact, and Sanctified Darklord, the 3 cards that you can only pull 2 out of the bag to play in your Darklord deck. So this is a nerf. And Darklords are a really big deal. They're an incredibly toxic deck. They infinitely loop. They're 1 contact, they're 1 Sanctified Darklord, they draw 2 at the Ygopro, infinitely special summoning, infinitely non-targeting, negating, and gaining a bunch of life. They had to do this. I predicted this. I said this in my video that they would do exactly this, and they did do it. Now, moving on. Luna Lights. Oh, geez. What the... I don't know if I should be sorry for this. Maybe this is my fault. I don't want to be conceited with this because I'm just feeling sorry. If we go 21, win streak, Luna Light, which was quite recent... This may or may not have something to do with, hey, ban this broken combo, and they did 3 weeks ago. Look at that. Good job, Konami. They are listening. They did ban the broken combo. We'll talk about that in a second. I guess Konami does not want a free-to-play deck to be too good, so that was a problem. Maybe it was way too good, and the deck was really good at beating new players. So while it was good for new players, it was also bad for new players because you could summon your boss monster in Luna Lights and a new player would have no idea how to really deal with this. So this is what the deck list would look like. And now that the Emerald Bird and Martin are limited to 3, boy, you played 6 total, now you can only play 3 total. I'm not sure exactly what we'll be doing. We might play 1 Martin, 2 Bird, or 2 Bird, 1 Martin. But this does give a good idea of why they're releasing a card like this. Tenki was leaked. This is coming to Duel Links. I thought it would never come to Duel Links, but Konami said, how about we do bring it to Duel Links? We nerf Luna Lights, which this card could search any Beast Warrior, so it will pretty much fully make up for the nerf almost, and maybe even make the deck better, and we'll make more money in the end. So in the effort to make a free-to-play deck no longer free-to-play, and for Konami to make more money by releasing Tenki, there you go. Good job on Konami. They maybe made a bit more money now at the cost of the free-to-play being restricted. And if we look at the Luna Light deck, they're already... The Fox is already semi-limited. So we got semi-limited Fox, and now we got limited at 3. Not cool, Konami. Not cool. I don't like this attack on free-to-play. Now, moving on. Well, is that it? No, there is more. Much more, and we're talking about big impact. We'll talk about the overall impact on the decks after we get through the full list of what changed. Now, there are skill changes. Skills can make or break a deck. We've had Noble Knights be tier 1 because of balance. They nerfed balance. The deck died. Just from the skill change, they didn't change the deck. Let's look at it. So we have some boosts with Pathway to Chaos. Check out my fusion. These are buffs, so these are absolutely unpredictable. They are whenever Konami wants to buff these skills. I believe they changed the Pathway to Chaos to be more easily activatable. So let's check that out. And from my quick reaction to it, I think it's a bad change. It wasn't even a good one. So let's skip to that, actually. Pathway to Chaos. Instead of, so now you get to change your Blackluster Soldier into a Super Soldier for free. Only if you're changing an effect monster do you have to send a Karibo. So you needed a Karibo to change your monster into a Super Soldier, and now you don't need the Karibo, as written here. As you could see right here, let's move on over. Let's skip. Stick with me. There it is. I found it. Pathway to Chaos only requires a Karibo if transforming an effect monster. So you may be thinking, that's great. It's a free boost. Let's look at Blackluster Soldier. Let's fully understand this change real quick before going to the more relevant change that you care about. Blackluster Soldier has no effect. It's not an effect monster, so it turns into a free Super Soldier with the skill. That's amazing. But the main way to summon the Blackluster Soldier is turning it into an effect monster. Whoa, this is controversial. I know some of you are going, what? No. Yes, it becomes an effect monster. When you send the beginning night or the evening twilight to the graveyard, it gives the Blackluster Soldier an effect, which turns the Blackluster Soldier into an effect monster, which means you will not be able to turn it into a Super Soldier for free. The Super Soldier for free So the skill change didn't really even do anything. We don't get a free super soldier. Now, Dkayed, how could you be sure about that? Well, for giving you an idea, Force Focus, for example, reads the same way as the skill. Force Focus says that you can only target a level 5 or higher effect monster your opponent controls. Well, you would be thinking the skill says you have to send a Kribo for only an effect monster. Technically, the Blacklisted Soldier is not an effect monster. Well, a Force Focus can target a Blacklisted Soldier only if it does have the effect from the evening or the beginning twilight. So the Blacklisted Soldier does become an effect monster. Now, if the skill is not following the rules, which it may not, then the skill will be a lot better. But if they do follow their own rules, where a Force Focus can only target a Blacklisted Soldier once it gains the effects, making it an effect monster, which means the skill's no good, we'll see what happens. Let's see if Konami's crazy or not. Check out my fusion. I'm not going to talk too much about this. Honestly, I just want to make this video quick. I just want to talk about the pathway to chaos. I thought that was interesting. Now, what did they nerf? Level dupe, level aug, level reduction. Which one was the problem? Only one was a problem, but they hit all three. And the suggestion I gave, or my prediction, which was in line with everyone's prediction, everyone predicted this, that the skill of level augmentation, you reveal a monster to boost a monster's level on the field, would only be until the end of the turn. And that's exactly what they did. And the main reason to do that change was because of one card. Konami got clowned on. They got severely clowned on, and Konami does not like being humiliated, which they definitely did. They looked so bad by releasing Hang On Mac with the current version of the level augmentation, turning this into a permanent 4,200 attack, unaffected by activated monster effects, and all of your opponent's cards being sent to the graveyard are banished instead. So they not only murdered level augmentation by now requiring it to cost 3,000 life points or lower, so it's not just until the end of the turn. Now the skill is way, way worse. They also went for augments brother and sister. Level reduction and duplication did nothing wrong, but because augmentation made them look like a fool, they slaughtered duplication and they slaughtered reduction. This makes me very upset because level reduced Blackwings was a legitimate fun, and it seems like the real way to play Blackwings. Let's see if I could quickly see a Blackwing deck playing that. You're not going to be able to play it anymore, and I think Konami's just slowly killing all of the generic skills. They don't want you to play the generic skills. I don't even think the level reduced Blackwings was maybe not the most popular way to play it at the moment. It wasn't. It's not even the most popular way to play the deck, but it was a really fun way to play the deck. Because your synchros, some of them are tuners, and then you level reduce, you summon, you turn your synchro into another synchro, then you summon your synchro back. It was a fun dual puzzle deck, so this got hit in the collateral damage, not cool. Now the level duplication also being only, you have to be at 3,000 life or lower to activate it. So what deck got hit in the collateral damage? We are talking about Thunder Dragons, which I feel this is a bit unfair because they got hit because of Hang On Mac, not for themselves. So to fully understand this, I think that Konami does not want to take a chance to look like a fool again. Even though they already changed it to just be until the end of the turn, and the only problem was that it lasts beyond that turn, they didn't want to take a risk. You all made fun of them too badly, so they got real salty and hit all the level change skills, so they don't even want to think about it. I don't know how big their balance team is, but it might be real small where they don't have time to actually test all of the generic skills with new cards they release, to which potentially creates another Hang On Max situation to make the fool out of themselves again. As you can see, every single Thunder Dragon deck, all of them played level duplication in the past 2 weeks of successful decks. So they got hit, and they won't say that's the reason why, because it wasn't. It was because of the Hang On Mac. This is collateral damage. The Thunder Dragons and the Blackwings did nothing wrong. Now, let's talk about the next change, Titan Showdown. Titan Showdown now requires, if you don't know what it does, you deal double battle damage if you are half of your opponent's life points. So if your opponent's double your life, they take double damage. Now you only deal double damage if you control a dinosaur. Well, if we look at the KC Cup tier list, we did have Evil Eye as a top tier deck. And if we go into the top deck page and we click on tournaments, we click on Casey Cup. This is generally what did well. Evil Eye did quite well. 10 of them, ready? 10, 10. 10 Titan Showdown. All 10 used it, but it wasn't about this deck. The problem card was this one. Titan Showdown was abused with this. You would make this very easily with any deck that could make a rank 3 exceed, and if you're half your opponent's life, you get to deal double damage. So this was the problem. The Evil Eye deck just had 2 abilities that made the combo kind of broken because it had a really good way to make yourself lose life points to be half of your opponent, and it had a really good way to rank 3 exceed. Now, they also lost Storm. So they lost Storm, they lost Titan Showdown. Will Evil Eye still be good? Hopefully, because it's a relatively free-to-play friendly deck, and they got hit hard just because of this. I suggested a change where you just wouldn't deal double damage for attacking directly, just over monsters. And there's a new UA card that works exactly how I predicted Titan Showdown should have been changed, but instead they just completely slaughtered the skill. Now at the final change, I said we weren't done with onomats, onomatopoeia, onomatoplay, zubaba, ga-ga-ga, do-do-do. Will I no longer be saying that in future tournaments? We'll see, because the skill has been changed. The skill, right now in its current form, return 2 onomats back in the deck. Then you get to add 2 monsters with different names from your deck to your hand. So what this deck did, if we look at the deck, because now the sister got hit, they got the skill hit. Well, let's talk about, are they still going to use the skill? Are they going to drop the skill? No, they're going to use the skill. The skill is now once per turn, twice per duel, only return 1 card to add 1 card instead of return 2 to add 2. Return 2 to add 2 was once per duel. It return 1 to add 1 is now twice per duel, but only once per turn. So they're thinking 1 + 1 still equals 2. It's fine. It's still a huge, huge nerf. It does drop the near 100. If you look at this deck right here, this deck list is 100% chance to have a turn 1 Photon Strike Bouncer. Why? You have a 4-card hand and he's only playing 2 cards that are not Onomats. So 100% you could shuffle 2 Onomat cards back to grab a sister and grab a coat. So they took away the 100% chance to make a turn 1 Photon Strike Bouncer, and they also reduced the consistency of being able to follow up with a Gaga Head. Or, you know, actually the Gaga Head consistency, I would say, is not really dropped. It's just they dropped your 1-turn kill potential if you're going second to shuffle 2 cards, get the perfect 2 to set up that 1-turn kill. Usually it requires 3 cards total, so being able to return 2 out of the 3 usually guarantees your victory alongside the True Nade. And your very consistent turn 1 play of Photon Strike Bouncer, I think the deck's going to have to be more control-ish. We're going to have to play more back row because they lost their near guaranteed turn 1 control play. So in Bouncer, negate, you don't need back row, you are fine. Then play aggressive. Now it's no longer guaranteed. That's going to be a big deal. So a lot of Onomat players are quite unhappy. Let's quickly look at the overall changes onto the website. Let's see it. Let's go. This is live. Let me know if you like these live videos or you're like, oh no, I need you to edit, Dkayed. I can't have these random pauses. This is too awkward. This is the total changes in one picture. This is the ban list. Let's zoom out a bit more to fit the Cenadas. There you go. Oh, here we go. Perfect. So what do you think about this? I think Blue Eyes will definitely still be top tier. I think Dragoonity will become more relevant now that they can play Cenadas. I think the way to play Fusion Gates with Cyber Dragons has been nerfed heavily, so they're just going to have to play differently. The way to play Onomats is going to have to change. They're going to have to play more control. The chair, the whole Starlord deck is completely deleted. It no longer exists. They deleted this entire deck type. So if we look at this deck list, it no longer exists. There's no way to change it. You cannot play. You see there all the 2 cards, you can only play 2. So that means they have to take out 4 of these cards. It is illegal. And the Sanctified Darklord, not only tied with the chair, just the Darklord engine itself will no longer be able to play pure, even though that wasn't too much of a problem, but they were afraid of it being a problem. So they just nipped it in the bud early. The Lunalight change, kind of awkward, kind of weird. If they're balancing based off of Casey Cup and to make sure the health of the ladder is healthy, then the Lunalight change didn't make too much sense, because if we go to the Casey Cup, Lunalight, there was one Lunalight in the top 100. So as I said in my prediction video, they don't really balance for Casey Cup, but the Casey Cup does help them balance, just like our tier list does, just like our events do, because they do have an impact on the ladder. It was mostly about Lunalight, I guess, being seen as a toxic deck on the ladder. And boy, is that a lot of limited to threes. You're now going to have to change that. And a big thing with this, even though it's not shown in this deck list, what was very popular that should be mentioned is the Boxer Veil. Boxer Veil is another big reason why I believe they limited the Lunalights to 3 so that you could not play this. So with that said, the biggest mess up of this is that they didn't hit D-Draw. Apparently they think Destiny Draw is fine. They think it's okay, that you don't have to be at 2,000 life or lower. I would think that the Battling Boxer combo of take 2,000 damage, regain that 2,000, now you're at 4,000 life, then picking up your deck and searching for anything. Apparently, Konami sees that as an extra bonus that they want to have with Veil. I feel like maybe that would have been enough to hurt Lunalights in a way, the most popular way to play Lunalights, but no, they had to hit all of the main furries. Martin, Bird, and Fox are now hit. And then the overall skill changes, the 2 buffs, Pathway to Chaos. I told you if they follow their own rules, it's not going to have an impact on how the deck's actually played. The level skills got nerfed that had collateral damage onto Thunder Dragons and Blackwings, but mostly hit the Hang On Mac. Very good on them for that change, but not the 3,000 life point change. That's too much. Titan Showdown gone. A lot of meme decks had fun with this, but the Evil Eye deck was abusing it and doing well with it in the Casey Cup, so they slaughtered the skill. And now Onomat is going to be less of a one-turn kill deck and more of a control deck. So what do you think of the changes? I'll do a quick drive-by of all the deck lists that were impacted, most of them. This is a dead deck. Blue Eyes is still going to be fine. Look at that. We got Onomats. They're going to have to just change up everything. We're looking at the Evil Eye. No more Titan Showdown. Maybe they may not even play this anymore. No more Storm. That's unfortunate. It was a free-to-play card. This is gone. And that's pretty much it. So thank you so much. I believe this might be my longest Banlist reaction video, but I wanted to make this very well informed and not just a reaction, just so you know exactly what's going to happen to the meta. Thank you for watching. I'm live on Twitch right now. If you're watching this within 5 to 6 hours of it being released on YouTube, thank you so much. Fools, let's go.